It's time for the Ruffin Wrestling Show. Here's your host, Michael Ruffin.
You're soft, you're sloppy.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Ruffin Wrestling Show, coming at you Tuesday afternoon. I promise I'm going to do a Raw show as well. I'm going to record that a little bit later tonight, but this is a show that I've been wanting to do for a while, with, the buzz that's going on right now around is that everyone is either excited or everyone is loathing what's coming, and that is the brand, quote-unquote, expansion. We're all calling it the brand split because really, and it's what it is. I mean, you can use the word expansion if you want to, that's fine, but brand split is really what's happening. If you don't know what's happening, if you've not been watching, or if you have caught this show by accident, WWE on July 19th, normally their show SmackDown, which is normally taped on Tuesday nights, and then is aired on Thursday. It used to be on Fridays, now it's on Thursdays. It will now go live on Tuesday nights. Now, this is where I think we have an issue. Do we need... Well, not do we need, is I don't think that we need to have two live shows per week on two nights back to back. I am not against SmackDown going live. I am very for SmackDown going live. I've always hated that SmackDown was taped because the spoilers get out there, it gets leaked out. You can easily go and find it by checking any wrestling fan page, usually on Instagram or Twitter or something like that. You can find what happened on SmackDown before SmackDown, 2 days before SmackDown actually airs. So, and a lot of times I fall for that. A lot of times I go and I read what happened on SmackDown, and then 9 times out of 10, I can watch SmackDown and forget what happened. So, for me, it really doesn't matter. But what I wish would happen here is, if we're going to do SmackDown Live, which is a good thing in my mind, I think they should keep it on Thursdays. Now, I don't know if that's because the road schedule doesn't allow for it or what, but but the shows, there will be 2 nights of WWE live wrestling every week, and they will be 2 nights back to back, one on Monday for Raw and then Tuesday for SmackDown. So I wish it was Thursday because you need that break. I personally, as a huge wrestling fan, don't need 2 nights of wrestling live back to back. For me, I would rather it be a couple of days. Like, actually, when you think of it now, you'll actually get 3 nights in a row of wrestling. You'll get Monday night for Raw, Tuesday night SmackDown, and if you watch it, which if you're not, I don't think wrestling is for you, you have NXT on Wednesday. So you've got 3 nights of wrestling back to back to back right there every week. Some fans might think of this as great and are overjoyed and doing backflips over it. And then I'm sure there's a lot more fans who are like me who kind of wish the programming was a little bit more spaced out. Like, what was wrong with having SmackDown on Thursday? I'm thinking it has to be something to do with the road schedule as to why we won't have SmackDown on Thursday but now on Tuesday. And it's also moving from Sci-Fi to USA. Now, it's it's no stranger that it's pretty much open news now that WWE was not actually behind this decision, that it was actually USA who decided they wanted to get SmackDown live because they felt it would raise the ratings, and it probably will, at least definitely on July 19th when we have the draft. They announced on Raw last night, and yesterday it hit the news as well, but it really broke on Raw last night that we will get the draft on July 19th from Worcester, Massachusetts. That's the July 19th is the first live SmackDown, and we're going to have a draft where each talent will be picked and chosen and sent to their respective show, either Raw or SmackDown, because with the brand expansion, we're getting 2 unique rosters. Now, what this could mean is that some tag teams might get broken up, like Enzo and Cass could get broken up. Enzo goes to SmackDown, Cass goes to Raw. The New Day could get broken up. 2 members might go to SmackDown, or 2 members might go to Raw and 1 to SmackDown, or vice versa. So a lot of things can happen with the draft. And a lot of fans are grumbly about it. They don't like it. They think the brand expansion is a terrible idea. And I'm here for this show to say why the brand expansion is good. Because and there's many reasons. First off is less overexposure. If you're like me, you are tired of seeing Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, the same guys just over and over again on every show. The same three guys are the top guys on that show for the night. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, well, they're top guys because they draw money. They're who the fans want to see, and you're probably right on that. So that's why I think some of these top guys are going to get split off. Like Roman Reigns will probably stay on Raw, and John Cena might go to SmackDown. Now, I don't know if maybe AJ Styles will go to SmackDown, or maybe he'll stay on Raw. Kevin Owens will probably go to one like Raw, and then Sami Zayn will probably go to something like SmackDown. What I think SmackDown is going to be, and this is why the brand expansion is exciting, and why this is all a good thing, and that is because with SmackDown, you get the possibility of really letting those new era guys shine. The guys who are on Raw that are getting buried down into the mid-card because they're not John Cena, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins. They're not a top dollar draw. So they're not getting their real time on the show. If you send somebody like Sami Zayn and Apollo Crews, if you can keep Tyler Breeze from having a stupid sunburn gimmick on a pay-per-view from him, you put him on SmackDown. I think Sami Zayn and Apollo Crews could actually be in main events on SmackDown if done correctly. So that's why, to me, that this brand expansion is not a bad idea, because it really leads you to that other guys that aren't getting exposure will get a chance to really shine on their own show. And a lot of people have been saying another thing is, what are we going to do about the titles? Well, of course, that is always a question. First thing is, obviously, if they want to do it, they're going to have to bring back a second world championship. And immediately, a lot of fans will say, well, that makes the value of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship diminish. And you're kind of right, yeah. If you don't remember, up until, last year, 2 years ago, there were two belts. They just were two belts and two different things, and they were treated as such, two separate things. And then they got combined into the current WWE World Heavyweight Championship. But we had the WWE Championship, and we had the big gold belt, the old-fashioned World Heavyweight Championship. And like I said, they got merged into the one belt that we have now. My idea is that you just go ahead and bring that old belt back and you split them back up. You have the WWE Championship that goes to Raw. You have the World Heavyweight Championship that goes to SmackDown. They never see each other. They never cross paths, or you never get the option of somebody becoming a unified champion. So you've got two big belts for people to chase. Now you got a question about minor titles. Well, of course you've got two. If you look at it, you've got the Intercontinental Championship and the United States Championship. No reason why you can't break these up. Now, Intercontinental Championship, in my idea, or in my mind, is a little bit more important. It has a little bit more value than the U.S. Championship. So my idea is that you put the U.S. Championship on Raw, you take the Intercontinental Championship, and you put that on SmackDown. Reason being is a lot of people will always look at Raw being the more important show. It will be the show that's better than SmackDown. But you remember back in the day when Paul Heyman was running SmackDown, he'll tell you his goal, and he achieved this, by the way, was to make SmackDown must-see television. And that, I believe, is a goal that they're doing with this brand expansion. Is they know a lot of fans. You can look at the ratings and see that about 1 million less fans watch SmackDown than watch Raw. And that's because for everybody else, it feels like SmackDown is just kind of the secondary show. It's the B show. SmackDown doesn't always have to be the B show. It doesn't have to be the background show. It can be a starring show. It can be a priority. It can be an A show. And it will be in the brand expansion if this is done correctly. If you draft the right superstars onto SmackDown and you keep the right superstars on Raw and you take the titles, if you're going to split them up, put the Intercontinental Championship on SmackDown, put the United States Championship on Raw, you can make SmackDown great again. Not to steal from a certain presidential candidate there, but that can make SmackDown mean something, because now you've got a World Heavyweight Championship and you've got a really big, classic, minor title that in a lot of fans' eyes, is not that minor of a title. To me, the Intercontinental Championship is a very important title. It's a great title for someone who may not be ready to be the big champion. They may not be ready to carry the weight of being your face of the company, that you're being your world champion. It's always a great little title for somebody that's pushing their way and is really cutting their teeth and doing a great job and is deserving of a title, but is just not quite ready for that big title. That's what the Intercontinental Championship is great for. The United States title, in my opinion, is just a couple rungs below the Intercontinental Championship. It's not as important. It doesn't have as much value, and but it also has that same kind of deal going for it. It is a minor title, but again, it's a title for guys who aren't ready for the big show. They're not ready for the big name and the weight and the responsibility that comes with being the face of a company. They don't have to do the Today Show appearances. They don't have to do the Make-A-Wish stuff. I mean, obviously they can, and it's great if they do. But when you are either the WWE champion or the World Heavyweight champion, you have that responsibility. You have that obligation to do those things because you are the face of a company. You do need to make those appearances, and you do need to be a brand among yourselves that represents the company. But when you're the Intercontinental Champion or the United States Champion, you really can just focus on what's happening on camera and focus on what's happening on the show and happening in the sport. And that's where, you put those Intercontinental and the U.S. champions. Somebody like Miz is a great Intercontinental Champion. Sami Zayn will be a fantastic Intercontinental Champion. Cesaro would be a great Intercontinental Champion for right now. U.S. Championships, the other night at Money in the Bank, Titus O'Neil really showed that he's ready to hold a title, but he's maybe not be ready to hold the WWE Championship. U.S. title would be perfect for Titus. Now, I ranted about this on the Money in the Bank show, but you had Mega Dad Titus O'Neil, and it was Father's Day. It was a great chance to put that title on him. Now, last night on Raw, they had a match, and man, I love Titus. Titus looked good. They didn't even have a match. It didn't get started because Titus came out there ready to kick some ass, man. And he came out and he hammered on Rusev and had Rusev turning heels and running. So, Titus O'Neil is a good guy right there to put at that U.S. Championship. He's ready for that. He's ready for that title, but he's not quite ready for the big title yet. That's where the importance of the United States and the Intercontinental Championship come in, right there. Boom. They're that mid-level championship that's good right there for that guy that's really coming in every day, working his ass off, paying his dues, and he's over with the fans, and, that's where you get it. That's where you put it, right there. Now, you've got the other titles, to talk about. You've got the Tag Team Championships. You've got the Women's Championships. Here's my proposal. You split those up. You keep one on Raw, and you put the other on SmackDown. Either one works. It works the same way no matter what you do. Whether you put the tag titles on Raw and the women on SmackDown or vice versa. You can do it either way. But what it will do is if you want to see tag teams like The Club, the Usos, the Wyatt family, New Day, Enzo and Cass, if you want to see them, you've got to watch the show that they're on. If you want to see somebody like Paige, Charlotte, Dana Brooke, Becky Lynch, you've got to watch the show that title is on. Now, I know that kind of negates what I said about splitting up tag teams, because obviously you can't do that if you're going to split the belts like that. Another option is that you have the tag title and the women's title actually work both shows. Now, what they're doing, I don't know if what they're doing with this unique rostering is if the two separate shows will break off, and they don't necessarily have to be in the same spot anymore. You can break off and cover more market across the country and do other things. You can have Raw, literally one night could be in the Staples Center in Los Angeles, and SmackDown could be at Madison Square Garden in New York, or could be in Boston while Raw is in Seattle. You could be clear across the country and do different things. Now, if you're going to do that, obviously with the tag belts and the women's belt working both shows, won't work. But if they're going to keep everybody traveling together and not really split them up where SmackDown's just down the road from Raw, then you can possibly do it. And it just means more work for people that are the tag champions or the women's champion. And that's just something that comes with being the champion. If you can't handle that, well, then you don't get to carry a title. But if you're ready to pick it up or carry that load and represent that belt, well, then you've got your work cut out for you. You know what to do. So you can do that. You can do something with that. My idea is to split them off. Put the tag championships on Raw and the women's champion on SmackDown. Something else that you can do is you can have new titles come in, and this is something a lot of people have been talking about, because this summer, if you are unaware, WWE is holding the Cruiserweight Classic tournament on the WWE Network, and it's 32 of the biggest named cruiserweights in the world. There's names like Zack Sabre Jr. Or Kota Ibushi. There's some great names in that tournament. My prediction is Kota Ibushi and Zack Sabre in the finals. But what you can do is say, all right, the winner of this tournament is going to not only get a WWE contract. I don't know if that's part of the deal. It might be. It might not. But they could get a WWE contract and also become the Cruiserweight champion. You can also bring back the European Championship. Now, I know a lot of fans are probably saying, okay, too many titles makes the other ones less value, and it makes you got too many titles, they're just spread too thin. And that's kind of true. Yeah, everybody likes to see a belt get defended, but it doesn't mean that you have to have 5 or 6 belts per show. So honestly, if they do that, I think it'd be okay. But I think it'd be best if we didn't do that. Another thing that we have possibly is that we will have brand exclusive pay-per-views. There we go. That's what I was trying to think of. Brand exclusive pay-per-views. That means something like Battleground coming up. Battleground could be just Raw, and all you're going to see is feuds and titles defended from Raw. Or maybe, Payback becomes a SmackDown show, and it's just SmackDown. Or even better, WWE has the opportunity to really up the value of the WWE Network and add 2 pay-per-views per month. Yeah, it's going to cost creative to have to double, to book, twice as much, and you're going to have to come up with some names, but you've got great stuff. Like, remember Armageddon, Great American Bash, Halloween Havoc, remember these? You can always bring those back and make them the SmackDown show, or make them even the Raw show, and let SmackDown take the bigger show that everybody's more familiar with. You can do a lot of different things, and then you can do something special. If you break these rosters up, we won't get to see matches like Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn if they get split up. Or maybe we won't get to see John Cena go against AJ Styles if you split them up. So you can do stuff where brand versus brand hit on the pay-per-views. Stuff like, maybe think about Survivor Series, Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, a 5-on-5 with the 5 best guys from each roster. If you keep those guys separated, when it comes time for the bell to ring on that, people will be drooling at how excited they are, and we'll be marking out in our living rooms because we're finally getting to see guys that we want to see fight finally go at it, because now they're not divided anymore, at least for one night. So that's my idea with the brand expansion. It's not exactly the greatest idea, but it's not exactly the worst. I'm in favor of it. I know a lot of wrestling fans aren't, but that's just my opinion about it. Brand expansion is good. It allows, like I said, it allows new guys to come in. Maybe some people from NXT get to come up. It lets the new guys just shine and maybe see if they can, boost their value of their brand, get over with the crowd, draw a little bit more money, sell some more merchandise. It allows that. It allows the titles to really go exclusive to shows where you never see them defended outside of that show. And then, like I said, of course, you get your brand exclusive pay-per-views until it's time for guys to collide from opposing brands, and we get to see some classic matches that we won't see any other time outside of a brand versus brand pay-per-view. That's my opinion about it. I could be wrong, but thank you guys for tuning in. I'll be back later today with a Raw recap, and also we're going to talk about, we're going to do a little bit of a rumor recap and some news possibly as well. So I'll see you guys a little bit later tonight. But until then, take care and peace.